In this lesson, let's duplicate the quarter panel before we go in and start to add the gas cap. So in this case, we know that we're going to be adding some resolution in here because the gas cap is going to be located in here. Now the car's not going to have a gas cap on both sides, so it doesn't make sense that we need to add all that resolution in for both sides. So let's go ahead and in this case just mirror this over to the other side so we have a low copy that we can save for later. Okay, so in this case we want to actually use our working pivot. So you can see over here in the hierarchy panel, you can come down here to working pivot. The pivot right now is set to the center of that initial wheel arch that we had. So I'm going to use a working pivot, and you can edit that, or I'm going to leave it right where it is because that's where I want it, right in the middle. All right, and now what we can do is simply go up to mirror, okay, right over here next to align in the main toolbar. So I'm going to go ahead and choose mirror. There you can choose the axis you want to mirror along. So we want to mirror across the x-axis. Now you can see since our pivot is in the middle, it mirrors it straight across into the exact position that we need. If you want to copy it, okay, you can create a copy. If you say no clone, it'll actually just move that over. Or you can create an instance or reference. Okay, so we'll just go create a copy. Okay, and let's go ahead and save this copy in a layer. Okay, we'll show you how to do that. Now you don't initially you won't see the layers up here on your toolbar, but if you right click on the main toolbar, you can bring up layers, and it'll bring up this little floater here. And so this has all your layers. Right now we just have a default layer, layer 0. So if we want to add this geometry to a new layer, we simply click on create new layer, and we'll call this something like side low layer and say OK. And now we have this new layer that we're able to work on. I can turn the visibility off. I can freeze that. So it's frozen. Okay. I can so I can do a lot of stuff with these layers. I can go in and manage the layers in here, and you can see what all the options are. I can see that I'm now on that layer. Okay. All right. So once we have that, we can go in and actually just turn off that layer. Okay. And then just keep in mind when you're creating new geometry, if you've got your active layer as an invisible layer, all of that new geometry is going to exist in the invisible layer. You're going to be creating things, you're not going to be able to see it, and then you're going to realize what happened, and then maybe you have a bunch of geometry floating around on this layer. So I'm going to go back to just the default layer, and we're just going to keep that tucked away until we need it so that we can work on this side and still have that kind of low geometry side over on the other side. Okay? So that's a quick way that we can kind of save that geometry for later. So in the next lesson, we'll come in and actually start modifying this back quarter panel to add the gas cap. So we'll look at how we can kind of separate this out, add some geometry in there, and get that going. So we'll look at that next.